scarecrows like to eat?
What is what?
What do scarecrows like to eat?
Candy corn?
Strawberries.
Strawberry.
Just had to throw that out there before I got serious about ghosts.
Malik like he's don't get lost from her. He like that one.
So I'm here to talk about ghosts because I've seen many, been with many, and they don't stop. It's been a little quiet now, but so I was going to tell you a few of my short ghost stories, and then hear if anybody else has ghost stories, because I know everybody has had a ghost in their life or a spirit, you know. I'll start when I was a child. One of the reasons why I came here is because I had a childhood filled with ghosts and spirits. And I got the same thing children usually got, which is there's nothing there. Or, you know, you're not seeing anything. And, you know, my sister actually sent me a cartoon, which was from The Far Side, if you remember them. The man that did that, it showed a perspective of looking through a window in a house, and there's curtains halfway closed, and there's two women there in the room, and one's saying, "My name's Barbara," and the woman's saying, "Barbara, there's nothing out there." And you see behind the curtain this, that was me. So when I was a child, I remember 3 years old, my mother holding my hand, we're walking through the woods, and there's a puddle, and my mother thought I was stomping my feet because I wouldn't go over the puddle. But it wasn't that. I was stomping my feet because in the woods I saw this floating man in a white cloak and hood and a staff, and he was floating right through the woods. And I didn't know what that meant because I never saw, you know, my mom or dad or any human doing that. So I was stomping my feet. I couldn't move. And finally she got me to move. But of course, she didn't ask me, she didn't give me any, you know, feelings as why I was seeing that, and it was, as soon as it was there, it was gone. Okay, then when I was a little bit older, you know how parents will tell you don't run through the halls, you know, you're going to hurt yourself. Okay, well, my father had just passed, and we had this hallway where the light would go out, but we couldn't put the bulb in because it was high up. And so I would run through the hall just to get through the dark. Well, I went to run through the hall, and there was this dark man. He was just almost black. In fact, I couldn't see through him, but his arms were out at his side like that, like this. And he just stood there. And being a kid, you know you can climb things, you can do super things. So I just like ran underneath his arm and ran down the stairs, you know, and what was that? Again, what was that? So I snuck up and it was gone. And, you know, again, I didn't get any feedback from that. Now, see, my mother had, you know, the touch. She had the intuition. She could say when the phone was going to ring, you know, who would be on the phone. But we never discussed things like this. Only it was Barbara's, you know, seeing things again. As a child, I was very interested in the dark. At night, when everybody would go to sleep at night, I would be wide awake. And I'd just walk around the house and I'd feel the energy. I'd feel the energy of people sleeping. and I'd start to feel things that I knew about them. I could tell that so-and-so was not going to be alive much longer. And that would really scare me, And then I really couldn't get to sleep. And then I couldn't tell anybody what I was seeing, but I was right. My sister died early, But I'd look at them, and I would just study them. And it sounds creepy, but I was just in that zone. And you have kids, so you know how tender and understanding you have to be when they're experiencing stuff like that. It's okay. So that's one thing I used to do. Activity started picking up for me when I reached my teens. Now, you know why that is, because hormones are going, you're just really in touch with everything around you. And I was in my room one night, and my mother had gone out for the evening, and the house was all quiet. Everybody was asleep. And there was a fly in my room, and I kept trying to kill it, but it wouldn't die. It would be somewhere else, and it wouldn't die, and I'm going, and all of a sudden, everything stopped. No sound. The crickets made no sound. There was no sound whatsoever. And then all of a sudden, I heard a soprano voice out in the woods. I'm not a soprano, but it was going, and I'm going, what is that? And it kept going. So I was like hypnotized by this sound. So I went downstairs, went through the kitchen. It's still going in the woods, And I had gotten to the point where I was going to go out and find that voice. I was ready to go and get it. So I just opened the back door. Still no crickets, no sounds of animals. And as soon as I opened the door and started going into the woods, my mother drove up in her car coming home. And all of a sudden the animals started again. The crickets, all the sound came back. And my mother came in the house. She said, "What are you doing up at this hour?" "Oh, what do you do?" And it was like, "Oh, go to bed." "Yeah, but there's something out there." Well, I asked the kids at the bus stop, that live in the neighborhood, is there a soprano, some lady, there could be, we lived in Connecticut, so New York City's not far. Maybe it was, but nobody knew anything. And I'm just like, boy, I gotta stop doing this. That's one of them. Then we always lived in houses that were built in 1801, so they always had spooky things about them. One night, we had 7 kids in our family, and one night there was a really bad storm, and it was like lightning every second. The lightning was going off and thundering. And me, my mother, and my sister were downstairs, and all of a sudden we heard this blood-curdling scream from my brothers. And they came running downstairs, and they were like, "Ah!" And what's going on? And they said the bed they slept in, my brother slept in one bed, and I had a sister in another bed, and a sister in another bed, in this big room with windows, ceiling to floor, an old New England house. They said every time the lightning went off, they saw this man walking across the end of their beds, just walking, and when the lightning went off, he showed no head. And So they saw that, and then they looked over where one of my sisters were, and there were like these little people like operating on her. They were just busy doing whatever to her. And so just to prove that, they weren't getting each other excited about this, one brother woke up and didn't even tell the other brother what he saw. He just went like this, and he woke up and saw the same darn thing. So, I don't know, we just sat there and we couldn't explain it. We stayed downstairs that night. I've also had my father, and several of you probably have had this experience, having one that had passed away that you love dearly. My father came to me in a dream. Well, it's a dream. And he was working in the gas station that he owned, and he was sitting behind the desk, and he saw me, and he got up, and he walked over to me, and he put his arms around me, and I could feel his body, his heart beating. He was just there, the cloth of his clothes. And then he just looked at me and he says, "I'm proud of you. Just know that I am proud of you." And I was like, oh my God. And then he just smiled, and he went behind the desk and sat down, just doing his business. And I was like, that was real. That was real. So I know they're there on the other side. And they're living and having a life. So I get a lot of spirit through my dreams. They come to me in my dreams, and I can feel them and talk with them. It's a gift I have. In this one house that was really built in 1801, my sister and I slept in the maids' quarters. And that was, in those days, the main house would have all the bedrooms and kitchen and stuff. And then you'd have a mud room, which up north, if you know, that's where you come in with all your heavy snow clothes and put them down on the floor and run in the house. And then next to that was the maids' quarters, which was a separate part of the house, not attached. And we had the 2 bedrooms. And I had a kitten named Rasputin. And I used to have Rasputin up in my room, and I'd be fixing it up. And Rasputin went in the corner of my room and stared at the door that was closed and started growling and hissing and looking at the door. I mean, the cat would not stop. And I'm like, so I naturally went and opened up the door. And I opened up the door, nothing was there, but that cat took off. Boy, I never saw him again up in my room. There was something there. Later on, I was sleeping in that room, and while I was sleeping, I started hearing, and I was like, what is that? And I just sat there, and it would stop, and then it would start again. And I was like, I gotta find out what this thing is. But I stayed in bed. It was against the wall, my wall. But I went and talked to my sister in the morning, my older sister who had a baby. And I thought it was the baby in the crib, rocking it against the wall. She said, Barbara, don't you know these walls don't attach? You couldn't have heard that. The bed doesn't touch that wall. It's impossible for you to hear that. So, and I'd have other experiences in that room. Because I was psychic and more adjusted to dealing with it, I would do things like when I had my friend over to spend the night, we'd be in bed like giggling and laughing and stuff. One night there was something in the room with us. I knew there was something there because the room got darker. It wasn't just dark, it got darker and darker. And my friend said, "What are we going to do? There's something in here with us." I said, "We're going to start laughing right now." So that's what we did. We made each other laugh. We started laughing, and all of a sudden the dark went away. I just knew that. I just knew that. So that's what happens in these old houses. So I told you about The Sopranos. There's been other instances in my life, where I've, like a metronome. When we moved into this new house, I asked openly, "Is there any ghosts here in the house?" Because I'd like to know. And what happened was we had a metronome that we had moved, and metronomes, you need to click it twice to open the door to it. It has a hook, it falls off, and then you have another click, and then it opens, and the metronome will go back and forth. You use it when you're learning piano, metronome. Well, one night I heard it going off. I was like, that can't happen. Nobody's touched it, nobody's taken the door off of it, and sure enough, it was open. So I did a little, spreading of, herbs around the house, and there's nothing there in that house. I mean, a little bit of things, but nothing nothing that I can't deal with. Nothing big that comes to mind. As I get older, it's easier for me to deal with it because I'm closer to it now with mediumship and psychic work, and I also do channeling. So it doesn't scare me anymore. But what I'm interested is if anybody else here has any ghost stories. I know that you do. Okay, miss down there, what's your name?
Sue.
Sue. What?
I lived in an old Victorian house, and we never used the living room. It was just set up real pretty. So one day, and it had two doors on it that were always closed. One day I went in there for some reason, I don't remember anymore, but the rocking chair was rocking by itself. So somebody was occupying the living room, and there was an old pantry with the original cabinets in it, and I would open up the cabinets and the spice jars would jump out at me.
Oh, what would you do?
I would just pick them up and put them back.
I know.
You know?
I know. It's like,
I never felt any malevolence.
right,
I
right,
felt like these were friendly spirits.
right.
And my son had to keep his door shut, or else we thought it was an old lady that lived on the third floor
Uh-huh,
and had died in the house.
uh-huh.
And she would like get in the bed with him.
Oh, no.
And my daughter, like, if her pillow fell off the bed, it would come back up on the bed.
Oh, okay.
The radio would turn itself on.
Uh-huh.
All kinds of things, but they were all seemed to be friendly.
Well, that's good, Yeah, I mean, at a certain age, you tend to figure that one out. When you're younger, it just like scares the pajabbers out of you. I know it did me.
It didn't scare me at all.
Mhm.
But I think I was in my 40s at the time.
Oh yeah, right. Old enough to deal with it. Anybody else here? Yes, I knew.
My whole childhood was like the movie Sixth Sense.
Yeah.
That was my whole childhood. But
Really?
nobody knew. My stepdad used to always come to the room and tell me, like you said, it's on your head, you don't see anything, but I would feel stuff. I would hear the ground, so some shadows that no matter what, it won't move, it will stay right there. So like,
Right.
not casting from anything. I've seen things out of the American ones too as well. Dream, it was like couldn't even sleep, always waking up, dreaming, something like that. Because that was most of my childhood, pretty much. Probably when I was between 8 and 11 was when it was the most loudest.
Right.
So I didn't have very little, like my parents didn't know much to do. They was doing their things to protect, but they always said that I had that ability, but that I was too young to discern.
Right.
So I had to wait till I was older to learn about it and how to discern and work with that.
Work with it. Yeah.
That was my whole childhood.
I know. I know.
Yep. How you say, so to speak, I didn't like at least verbally ask for it. It's just kind of like something that happened.
That just happened.
I felt they was trying to scare me away from it. I think it was trying to like almost like so I won't go that path. It seems like it was trying to scare me away from it. But it wasn't. It was no, it didn't work. I was just
Yeah, it's really hard when that's going on, you know. It helps. Go on.
I would say mine began with dreams as well. I
Mhm.
would have past ones that passed on. They would come to me, and I had a friend come down, big angel wings, and
Wow.
they were okay, you know. And I'd say, wait, don't go. And they look at me and say, I'm okay, I'm doing fine, and then they would go back.
Wow.
That's how it began with me.
That's good. So you both have that psychic stuff going on in mediumship, yeah. And these are your children here?
Yeah.
And so they probably do too. But at least, yeah, well, they're kids. It's probably all boring to them right now until they get bigger and they say, hey, Dad, I got to tell you something. Something was bothering me in the room. Anybody else?
Actually, Barbara, we're supposed to be rolling into a sort of free-form gallery,
A free fall.
free-form.
Oh.
So,
With me, it's a fall.
if you would like to offer anybody a little mini reading,
Mini readings. Okay, and there's plenty of people out there too that are going to do readings, right? That's what I heard. Would anybody like to have a reading? You it. Okay. And your name is?
Anna.
Anna.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful name.
Thank you.
Anna. You have I have a woman here. A mother type. Your mother has passed. Your grandmother. Two grandmothers that have passed. One was a really good cook, right?
I didn't know them too much.
No.
No.
Yeah. So you were young when they were alive. One of them liked to hold you a lot. That's what I can see. One of them liked to hold you on her lap. And you were just pleased as punch with that. And it kept you from running around and bothering your mother when she was cooking in the kitchen. I'm seeing that. But she loved to hold you. Oh, and I see her playing with your toes. You know, she liked to do that toe thing, little man, piggly wiggly toe thing with you. Yeah, she loved your toes. The other grandmother was not that much involved like that. She, I believe, was on your father's side. Yeah. Okay. But they were good grandparents, and so you were young when they passed.
I was young when my mother's mom passed, and then my father's mom, I just didn't really know her.
Right. She was not that kind of grandmother.
Grandmother, right.
Right, but the other one was. She was a feely, touchy grandmother. That's nice. I'm getting a younger spirit now. This one, I believe, is a girl. She passed early. She was young. She was a friend of yours. I'm sorry. Yeah, you were close with her. Was it? I'm feeling it was an accident, or it shouldn't have happened. Right, right. That's why I'm calling it an accident. Around 10, or a little older than 10. She was an adult. Okay, so she wasn't that young. But I know that yeah, all I can get is it shouldn't have happened. Yeah, and I'm sorry. Yeah. It's but she's all right. She's happy where she is. Yeah. She's doing her own thing. That's what I see. She's doing her own thing. And she watches you sometimes with the children. Yeah, she really gets a kick out of that. So know that she's around in your heart.
Her name is Lauren,
Lauren.
and she's a very good friend of mine, and she's also their aunt.
Ah,
So
auntie.
she passed away at 32, I believe.
Oh, 32.
She was young.
Yeah.
She was very, very fiery spirit, and she passed away of an overdose.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. Accident. It was. She didn't mean for that to happen. Yeah. Well, she's better now, and she's ready to pick up her heels again, and maybe come back and do it again, right way. Yeah. She rested for a while. She had to, because she went through a lot.
I want to say, I don't even know how long. The years, it seems like yesterday.
Right.
It's been probably a good 6 years now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good amount of years. So it'd be funny if it's like passing them on the street. You wouldn't know, but yeah.
I'll see her face sometimes,
Mhm.
through people.
Mhm.
I'll see her. I'll look at her, like her spirit.
Well, maybe her spirit is sending you that energy so you can see her and know that she's coming, or she's already here. They always say that there's a double of us somewhere, and I've had people send me pictures of me having dinner at a table, and I even got in trouble in school once because they called the teacher that I was in the class and told them that I was downtown shopping when I should have been in school, and it's like, that's weird, but, yeah, doppelganger. Don't want to get near them. You know how that story goes, right?
No.
Okay, doppelgangers are duplicates of yourself, and they actually want to take over your body or be you. So you don't want to face them, because that's like death. That's one of the stories about doppelgangers.
It's a little similar to that movie, the one with Jet Li. He meets all different images or lights of himself, and they have to merge. Only one could survive.
Right.
They have to take over the other one, face the last one, and only one can survive.
Yeah, see? Somebody made a movie out of it.
It's called The One.
Yeah.
What?
It's called One or The One by Jet Li.
The one?
Yes, The One or One. Either with the Japanese artist. The
Oh,
jet.
One
cool.
or one?
No, the one. It either says the one or the other is one. It's what jet Li.
Really, okay.
Yeah. Okay, you two. No ghost stories? No. What?
It would be saying it, but I had a friend and their house was always haunted because there was like 3 older daughters and sometimes they'd dabble, using words and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
their house was always haunted. They had these little gargoyles that used to perch well like 10 feet ceiling and perch, and they'd always just kind of move, kind of keep an eye on things.
Wow.
Nobody could go up there unless you had a ladder, but they would always leave the room, come back, and it was facing another direction.
Wow.
And then we've taken pictures in the house, and there's orbs everywhere. And they kind of just accepted it. They were just like, all right, there's things here, whatever.
You do.
And sometimes, like, they would hear them in the night, like, stop poking me or something. Just be jabbing them in the shoulder while they're trying to sleep. But the one that I remember most, their house was, that they were staying in on kind of a long floor plan. The master bedroom on the right, and the kids' bedrooms on the left. The living room was center, and so we were watching TV, and the TV's up against the wall. We're up against the back of the wall.
Mhm.
So just us and the TV, nothing else. And we see the oldest boy come from the right master bedroom, playing video games or whatever. And he went past us in front of the TV. We saw him walk. We're watching TV. We're like sharing a screen or something. And we see him go past. And he goes in the bedroom and he's on the TV. And we're like, okay, whatever. We laugh and we're watching it. And all of a sudden, he comes out of the right bedroom again. And we're just like, we just saw you go past. You're in
Yeah.
your bedroom watching TV. He's
Yeah.
like, no, I'm not. I've been here playing video games the whole time. So all of us as a group, my friend's mom, my friend, and her brother, we all go into his bedroom, and the TV's on. Transformers is playing. There's nobody in there.
Doppelganger, maybe, or spirit.
But yeah, you saw a form. It wasn't transparent. It was like when someone
Right.
else on TV. Like,
This.
there they go. Fair enough with himself. So yeah.
Oh. I think we have other readers out there that are going to come in and do readings too.
I'm sorry?
And our family of mediums out there.
Nobody's coming in to volunteer.
No, they won't volunteer.
You have to bring them
You have to bring them in here.
I'll go see if I can lasso one and drag him in.
Yeah, drag them
Use
in.
your magic wand. Get them in here.
Yeah, because they all do it.
Well, that's
You know.
interesting what she's saying.
Yeah.
I've had several instances too, and I'm very curious. One time my family, the kids and I, we were all in a like Airbnb hotel type deal, and my son-in-law, we all saw him. He came and we crossed the kitchen, and he went outside the door, and everybody heard the door because they said they heard the door close. And then he comes back around from the back bedroom, and we're like, you're outside. And everybody was talking. Said, yeah, we all heard you go outside. And he said, no, I've been here the whole time. So yeah.
Yeah, that is weird. Just a minute.
If she's waiting for a reason,
Come on, you guys. We got all these mediums here, and now they're like, It does. I've been doing it all day, and so I'm a little tired, standing up here. And of course, they are too. So I saw them all out there, and then all of a sudden the room emptied.
Well, I have an interesting thing that happened to me.
Okay. And your name is?
When?
Gwen.
Yeah, it was 2005. We were just about gonna have the hurricane pass through. It was just 2 days before, and I was having an art show in Philadelphia, so I had my truck stuffed to the gills, and I was really terrified to drive with this, what do they call those things that
U-Haul?
U-Haul, yeah, U-Haul, behind me, and, I was driving straight to Philly, and, I was white knuckling it, and then I said, both my parents had passed, and I said, Mom and Dad, if you still are here, please send me a sign, I really could use your help. And, what is the name of that,
Shopping center?
shopping center?
It's
Ellington,
Ellington, yeah.
yes. The panel that, lights up at Ellington to tell you what stores are there, lit up, and one lit up Old Fossil. My father was a geophysicist, and he called himself an Old Fossil. And right below it, it said Roche Bourgeois, which was a French furniture store. And that was where my mother shopped.
So you,
So I laughed and I thought, wow, there's something to this. It's amazing.
yes,
It's
yes.
not-
They were there, they were
It's
sending
not
you a
nothing.
message, right.
And I've worked as a nurse in a cardiac unit, and you can feel when someone passes. You can feel it if
Mhm.
they're still in the room.
Right. That's what my daughter says, you know, that when people pass away, one of her jobs is to clean the bed up and, you know, prepare.
Yeah,
She always talks to the person when she's doing it. She'll say, I'm washing your arm now.
Right, you got that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right, and respectful,
Right, yeah, exactly.
right, because they're still there. She knows they're still there watching.
Yes.
Yeah.